Hello and welcome to the Womxn Show. I'm Lenina Rassool, and today we are speaking about entrepreneurship, technology, and the fourth industrial revolution. After the break, we're going to be speaking to Aasiyah Adams, who in 2020 founded a social impact organization alongside a nonprofit that teaches technical and digital skills to entrepreneurs, youth, and women. But before that, we're going to have a look at a short video showcasing what they do. Let's have a look.
Hi, so I'm Aasiyah. I'm the founding director of Abaguquli. Abaguquli is a non-profit company. We focus on empowering youth with fourth industrial revolution skills and transforming lives. And the idea was to take learners, young learners, and let them finish what we call the old AET. After the AET, they get to design chatbots, they get to do mobile app development, and they do e-commerce development as well as digital marketing. And so these learners are walking away, becoming freelancers to generate income immediately. They've got their own website, and so they can even sell their products as well.
For me, coming from the Cape Flats, to be at any event where I'm seeing that people are given some kind of access to a world where, where they've been told before, no, you're not good enough, this is not for you, this is set and designed for other people who have other privileges. And now I'm at something like this today, where the door's being opened for people like me.
I learned a lot. I learned about digital marketing, web development, and SEO. I definitely want to study further and definitely go into freelancing.
Graduating today means that I've reached one of the milestones in my life, and that I've achieved something that I was hoping to achieve in this year. After this, I'm actually planning to build a few websites for clients of my own and take it further with the digital marketing as far as I can take it.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Womxn Show, and we are speaking about entrepreneurship, female entrepreneurship, the fourth industrial revolution, and so much more. And joining me in studio is Aasiyah Adams, who has started a social impact company and an NPO providing tech and digital skills to youth, women entrepreneurs. Aasiyah, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Lenina.
So we're going to start off. Please tell us about your company and organization.
Hi, everyone. So nice to be back here again. My favorite show. Yeah. Abaguquli 4R is our for impact company. And we do digital entrepreneurship where we take artists and entertainers, we take women in business, kids that have started their business, as well as small to informal traders, and we give them the digital skills, tools, programs to run their business, also to analyze their business and to reach a bigger target audience. This has been an amazing journey for us. We also do other 4R skills like artificial intelligence, software development. We do cybersecurity. We do technopreneur, robotics as well. And then Abaguquli, which is our NPO, our giving back, we do a little bit of small, short programs. So we would do coding, we would do Raspberry Pi, we would do 3D printing, we do drone license or remote pilot license, and then everything that goes with it, so beyond visual line of sight, as well as precision agriculture, videography, animation. And yeah, in a nutshell, I think that's us.
Wow, I mean, that is so much. And I think probably half of that is over our heads in terms of technology, which is interesting because we are living in sort of a tech world. And I don't think, often a lot of us haven't caught up yet to what that completely means. So I think I'm going to ask you, fourth industrial revolution is often spoken about as technology that is increasing, but it's spoken about in relation to youth only. right? We see all the programs, we need to teach youth, but it's not really only for youth. We've seen, before COVID, but also especially post-COVID, so much more unemployment. People need to be looking at tech, even mid-career, even later career.
For sure.
So I think I want to ask you, can you give us an idea, a broad idea of what the fourth industrial revolution is, and what does it mean for us normal people?
Absolutely. I think we're already using it. The main thing when people ask me is that data is king. We've seen wars, unfortunately. We've seen political sort of friction. It's all about data, and the exchange of data and how you use data. There was a prediction that said, if you have data, you are wealthy. If you have money, you have nothing.
Wow.
That's going to be the way of the world. I think, to put it in a nutshell, it's just taking away all mundane jobs and automating it, and that's why we started Abaguquli, because we didn't want to leave anyone out. So we wanted everyone to be part of this journey and be prepared. So I'll give you a simple example. If you go to Pick and Pay, and I'll use the one in Observatory, ironically, you don't have to have a cashier. It does it automatically. Now, the car industry has been doing this already. They've been building cars automated on machines. And all of a sudden, we're like, oh, robots. And, I think we also need to understand that the commercial aspect of fourth industrial revolution is also stigmatized, We were on the Netherlands embassy as one of the top women in artificial intelligence. And we had a humanoid that we built in 1,300 hours. And I remember the students coming in and they're like, oh, is this thing going to kill us? Are drones going to kill us? And I said, let me check your hands. They had a cell phone. I said, that will kill you. So for every pro, there's a con. I think this thing about robots are going to take over. A robot is the actual hardware. The thing that the robot does is what so many machinery already does. Artificial intelligence is just a program that builds data. So an example, if you have to study and you've got 3 courses that you have to study, you are the one that builds the data. You keep it in your head, your core memory, like in the animation, you keep it in your brain. Next quarter, you've got a little bit of that with new memories. That's new stuff. The artificial intelligence, it just builds all this data. So because it's not human, it is able to build so much data over a vast spectrum in a short period of time. So it keeps all these things. So for example, if you tell a child, if you touch that hot stove, you're going to get hurt or you're going to burn, they might forget because they're kids and that wasn't really something that interests them. Artificial intelligence system will never forget. Immediately it will switch off. An example. That's something you can do, right? So that's basically what AI is all about. It's all around us. And our tagline, if you look onto our website, it says the future is already here. So I've been to, years ago, probably about 6 years ago, I've been to a conference. It was a stakeholder engagement. And the MC was a humanoid, Pepper. There are 3 in South Africa. And Pepper was greeting everyone. Pepper was giving the actual, being the master of ceremonies, all of that. And the thing about Pepper is that it is voice recognition, it is emotion recognition, and face recognition. So you feel like this thing is actually talking to you, but it only focuses on you because it has so it's focused your face, your face, your face. And then it kind of feels the temperature of the room and everyone's smiling and laughing. And now Pepper entertains that. Everyone's quiet and now Pepper knows it can speak. Do you know what I'm saying? It is something that is just built in. That's it. So whether a drone or a robot is going to kill us is as much as a cell phone is going to kill us. That's the harsh reality. Are they going to take over our jobs? If your job is mundane, it's going to take it over. If it's repetitive, if it's something that you're going to do that is folding a box, putting stuff into a packet, that is going to be a mundane, repetitive job that is easy for them to do.
And a lot of that already exists, right?
Absolutely.
In our factories and with YouTube now, we can see, my daughter loves like the making of the sweets videos.
Absolutely.
Right? So then it's sort of a whole assembly line.
Absolutely.
And people used to do that.
Absolutely. So I think I want to debunk all these myths, because as much as you like, I don't want to get involved with this, I don't want to do this, they're going to do that. We have an opportunity, unlike our parents who've been through the Great Depression with the Industrial Revolution, that's when machines took over their jobs in factories. We have an opportunity to plan for our kids, you know, and we have an opportunity to get our kids to be part of a revolution that can financially take them to another level. An example, we had a farm, and on this farm, these guys have to count the fruit. And they're like, these guys, they're enjoying milk tarts at the lady's house, you know, and they're just having fun. And so they wanted us to drone this thing. Easy. You program this thing counts it, it takes aerial shots, you get the data, boom, done. But the problem is that they're going to feel insecure, right? So I said, I tell you what, we'll do it. We'll do it with a drone. We'll get that person to read the data. We'll teach them that first. Data analytics, integrate them, and then get them to fly the drone. Less room for error. Turnaround time is faster because they're an import and exporter certified body. And then there's time for him to actually build this relationship still and eat the milk tart. So we have the opportunity to get in there. The other beautiful thing about this is now, if he does faster turnaround time, he's going to be paid as a data analyst. He's going to be paid as a drone pilot and not as a general worker just counting it.
Wow.
We've moved him up levels completely. And so what I'm trying to get, especially coming from the Cape Flats myself, what I'm trying to get to people is prepare your kids now. Don't let them do things that are not going to be relevant. They can start with a salary, and I'll give you a perfect practical example. We went into Altus River in Gqeberha, and these young people did not have matric. So we're like, we're going to take them through ABET, the old AET, and all they wanted was to finish ABET level 4, so it's equivalent to matric, and look for a job. Tell me if the university students with undergrad and postgrad degrees don't have work. Where are these young people going to find work? So I said to them, tell you what, lie to these kids. I did, whatever, I'm saying it on live television. Lie to them and say to them, we're only going to do ABET. And we integrated quickly how to do chatbot development, mobile app development, e-commerce development, digital marketing. Before you knew it, they had their own profile, their own website. And now I get messages, oh, Auntie Aasiyah, I don't know why they call me auntie though, we need to talk about that.
We know why.
I'm earning 15 grand this month, I'm earning 30 grand this month. It's the gig economy, because now they're earning euros, pounds, and dollars. They're not just doing local, but they can. They can do the church website now. They can build a little chatbot on the church website. Do you have any? Do you want to give some donations? What? This is where you go. This is our banking details. You know, they can do digital marketing for smaller businesses, their parents, their aunts, their uncles. So this is where you've grown somebody from living in this little box of having nothing. And when people say they must just think differently, it's easy for somebody to say, who has exposure to that environment. I didn't. I didn't have an uncle who's a CEO. I didn't have a dad who thought, you know, I must think big. My dad was a driver, my mom was a tea girl, and so we didn't have money. My dad lost his job when I was in matric, and I was with exemption and getting good grades and nowhere to go. We couldn't even afford, you know, the taxi to go to the university if I do get a bursary. And so I didn't grow up with that in my environment. And so what I'm trying to say is I am a business person. I'm very blessed. I've been around business women of color from disadvantaged areas that guided me. I just want to give all this knowledge and hope that we create more young business people out there.
I love that. I mean, it's so important because one of my big things is also that when we look at the media, there's still such a lot of disparity. So even for me, myself, I struggle to see myself in, let's say, entrepreneurial spaces because there's so little representation. It's not that we want to, you know, seeing is important.
Absolutely.
You know, being able to see yourself there is really important. I love everything that you're saying, particularly the integration of technology. So it's not technology is going to come and take over. You know, something I was saying to someone else the other day, if we watch movies right now and the way movies are done, we are using, so whether my daughter goes to study dance, she needs to study dance and technology.
Love it.
because she, you know, the lighting and everything, just the way they're doing it now, or
Right.
the bodysuits that we see they did the movie
Right.
Avatar with,
Right.
or if she's going to study art and technology. I watched a brilliant documentary the other day about how this artist is using mirrors, but then partnering with architects and engineers to be able to create sort of the types of things and the angles, and math and technology. Right. So this is opening up like a whole conversation. So we're speaking to parents, we're saying, you know, let your kids start early. How do we do that? You know, I've been starting to think, like, do I do these little online courses with her? Like, how do we actually start this early?
Absolutely. I mean, it's easier with a boy, I suppose. My son was 8, he coded his first game. At 10, he coded without code. And they teach you all these like Twitch and Discord and all these platforms that they use. I think something that they're interested in, start there. So she's interested in dance, so then she needs to find out how the 3D works, how the visual works, how the animation
Can I give an example? She's also really interested in Roblox.
Oh, nice.
So
Roblox is a coding game.
Yeah.
And Minecraft. It's built to teach you how to code. So it's built that way. I also think that you don't know what your child wants, man, until you know they explore it. There's so many. If you look at Amazon, if you look at Microsoft, they've got open sources for free, certified training that you can do. You know, you don't have to pay. I've seen a course the other day, and I must tell you, they wanted me to crit it, and I said, no, I'll send my son. It was a kid's course, coding. I think it was still the old school C++. They sent him in. 5 minutes later, the guy phoned me and said, you can pick up your son. I said, I just dropped him. And they said, no, he knows how to do this. So he's passed that. You know, we passed and that course was like 90,000 Rand that they wanted me to crit not to do. And he's like, Mama was bored. It was so easy. It's old school writing because we can have no coding. That's one. Two, I think, is just expose them. I don't want them to not know what's happening. You know, this thing about, screen time, they must play, what. Each era has a different way of doing things, okay? If I remember these old school parents, which is probably my age, saying, they must play outside. I'm like, we had the station strangler.
I remember, yeah.
That is a joke now, but like, you were so paranoid, you didn't even go outside your gate because you didn't know if the next door neighbor was a station strangler. We were on a hunt looking for this man, just, you know, it was so atrocious. I mean, that's a part of my life that I think took away 10 years of my life, just like that.
And the nature right now is that kids are doing, you know, I have lots of play dates. It's just play dates. They're going to each other's houses with their devices, by the way.
Absolutely.
And they have these controlled environments in which to play. So already, you know, myself and a lot of moms are talking about what is that doing for sort of their view of the world and their frame of references, and what does this mean, and, you know, how do we navigate that space?
Look, I have a rule. My son cannot have anything on a headset. I need to hear everything because I just need to know what's happening to kind of control it, but also not be too controlling. I need to give him that accountability. So I hear all these accents, you know, it is a Japanese accent, and then there's an Arabic, and they don't understand one another, but they can say play.
Yeah.
So they play. I think expose them. What I always suggest, especially to young people studying, I'm like, that's great. You're studying to be a doctor. What in technology are you studying? Because there's going to be technology in doctor. You know, try and always see that component to it.
I think this is so interesting. And so the screen time you mentioned, which is a really, really, really huge issue, and there's books being written about how it's affecting the brain. But my daughter also is, for instance, her reading has sped up because she's watching things in different languages. Are they but again, I think I want to be clear. I don't know. I guess should we be more open about screen time there now, open to it?
Absolutely. I mean, we're also COVID kids, man. You know, 2 years you kept them at home, and now you're like, no, now you must go outside. You know, what I've learned in my life is that, and working in the engineering, aerospace, and defense environment for most of my life, those guys don't like a lot of people. And they make lots of money not liking a lot of people. So this thing that we must all be social, we must all love one another, we must all, when our kids go to school, they choose who they want to be with. And so we don't have to let them be with everyone. I think in moderation, I don't want to be the bad person. So, that lady said, I think in moderation, but I also think that when they do sit on screen time, let it be educational. More than if they're playing a game. I know somebody who plays the game. He's the top gaming developer and coder in South Africa. He's 14. He's the third best in the world. Okay, and so he's done this since he was young already, and he goes with his mom to all these conferences. That's why I met him with his mom, and I'm like, seriously, you don't want to be here? You can see your face. But I mean, that's just sitting playing games. And so now he plays for a company, and he goes over to Mexico. She says, I go to Mexico, I go to wherever. They ask him because he plays international games, getting millions every time he plays.
Wow.
Can we just?
And I think also what's important, what's great, and I think is a thread that's just emerging now, is that play with your kid.
Absolutely.
Right? So play with your kid, learn what it is, you're upskilling yourself that way also.
Absolutely.
And then you also you're better able to monitor when you're playing with them than when you just like sort of listening up.
Absolutely. Look, I also have a coach for my son. So I try and understand what he really likes. So playing the game is fine. How about developing the game? You might just make more money developing and you understand it better. So
I am sending my daughter to your house to play date.
Absolutely, anytime.
We have to take a short break.
No problem.
But we'll be back with more after this. Welcome back. You're still watching The Womxn Show, and we are having an insane conversation around entrepreneurship, the fourth industrial revolution, and still with me in studio is Aasiyah Adams. And Aasiyah, your organization, which you entered earlier, has now been nominated or is a regional finalist in the Global Startup Africa Award under the category Best Accelerator and Incubator. And that is like super, super exciting. Can you tell us a bit more about that and what that has meant for you?
Yeah, I think personally, if you're in the space of, business and awards, I think this is a complete up for us.
And let's just say a female entrepreneur of color also, right?
And a huge honor. So how it works, it's a global award, and within the areas, within the regions, they have sort of cut off or segmented awards. So example, in Africa, it's Ghana, Namibia, Kenya, Malawi, and so I represent South Africa. And that's just an honor. Also very intimidating because there are amazing entrepreneurs out in Africa. And then we all come together, and then there's Europe, and then within Europe, they have regional. So we've been nominated, and then after the nomination, we made it to the regional finalists. So the voting is up. Please, everybody vote for us. So it's Abaguquli for our best accelerator on the global startup. I'll give you the details. But at the same time, we were nominated for top empowerment company as well. So every year, Standard Bank has this huge celebration of top empowerment companies. So we've just been featured in their magazine, page 55. A win is a win, guys. And so that's a complete scale up for us. It's an honor, but I think also it must be saying that we're doing something right.
Yeah, and can I just say within a short time, right? Because founded in 2020.
Absolutely. I think when people ask me, what's your story behind it? What's it? And I think everyone wants a story like we're just trying to fix everyone. We're just trying to help. No, we're trying to let people make money. We've got one philosophy. I work in the community. You know me personally, so I work in the community. I work, at an orphanage. I work with community leaders. And I always see these little bandages being put on. And so they're like, we're going to try and fix this, and then we're going to try and give them food. And I'm like, why don't you try and give them access to money?
Yeah.
Why don't we transform this economy? And so that is our biggest objective. Let people make money. Let people that are struggling right now make more money, and so they move on. And then people who are earning less money than them, they move into their space. And so we're going to move a healthy economy. So that's what we've been nominated for, Best Accelerator. We give digital entrepreneurship. So we provide, especially women in business, kids, entrepreneur, artists and entertainers, or small businesses to informal traders to digitize their business, to use any apps, tools, any skills that we offer, any programs to take away all the bureaucracy of business. I've been through a lot of incubators, and the first thing they teach you on an incubator is how to build your website. And so my question was, who goes to my website? Why don't they teach me how to drive traffic to the website? How don't they teach me how that traffic can be transferred into money? You know?
Yeah.
Or they teach you, they say, let me teach you branding. And I'm like, okay. And so they say, do you know what Apple is? And you're like, you cannot take me from a small informal trader to a branding that Apple has. So I spend 3 months on trying to find the proper branding, the right tagline. Nobody comes to my website. Okay. So how I saw this whole thing about gig economy, obviously being in the 4-hour space, I've represented the 4-hour committee with MICT for South Africa. So how I saw this thing was I looked at influencers and I'm like, you know what? Influencing, yes, it is content creation, but it's all about data analytics and algorithms. How do I get onto your For You page? If we adopt the same analogy in business, we can make money. You know, influencers overnight, they don't like to be called influencers now, they're content creation. No, you're just doing a dance. It just happens to be, it comes up on my For You page because I watched a dance with similar music. I watched a female dancing. I watched a female dancing in Ghana. And so that's data.
I just spoke to someone this morning who said, I've been watching so many crime movies lately. And I said, well, you know, she's like, just over and over and over. And I said, well, you know, the more you watch, the more the algorithm is feeding you the same content. And so you're running on sort of this algorithm of the same stuff being fed back to you, right?
Absolutely. And that, I mean, if you look at programs like The Moral Dilemma and all the social science issues, when people become fanatics, it's because they're living in this world. And they feed what they want to hear.
Can we say it's almost like how the retail stores put the sweets at the till?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, I hope she's not going to hate me for this. She was on a dating site. And she said to me, babe, I'm just meeting the same type of guys. You know, it's just not working out. And I said, change your algorithm.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, must everything be technology to you? I said, yeah. So I said, if you're always going for a South African guy, go for a West African guy. Simple.
So
go for a West African guy who has a middle to senior job. Go for a West African guy who runs or does community work. And she said, but I haven't seen anyone I like. I said, you don't have to. Just click on anyone that has that profile. When he likes you back, you unlike him. Sorry, people, that was terrible. But you're changing the algorithm. It's science. She said, babe, it works.
Oh, wow.
I said, it's the same like manifestation, just this is proven science, you know? So you're changing your For You page. And that is why I felt digital entrepreneurship was so important. A simple thing we taught them was which social media mediums to go on. You don't go on everything because you can't do everything. How to sell themselves on social mediums. You're not selling, you're educating first, then selling.
Yeah.
Create the traffic. And then from the traffic, you say, you know what, I did my hair last week. I've used, you know, this oil. I tell you what, I've actually got it I've made some. If you guys want to try it, that's how you started selling. So use technology in the digital space. A simple thing that we taught them was how to pitch their business. You know how we used to do it on PowerPoint back then?
Yeah.
And then you must like work out, then you must duplicate this slide. It's on Canva. I love Canva. I do Canva for everything. Business proposals, everything. You know, everyone's talking about ChatGPT and we're like, we used it so long ago. Like, there's so many other apps as well. But these are things that are already there for you. You're not wasting time on it. It's perfectly done. Visually, it looks so beautiful. So people want to see it. And the information that you need is put in the slides. You just have to feed your information in there. So you're not going out of the realm of what the norm is. Also, that's AI.
Yeah.
Canva has built AI. So Canva has taken AI to generate new stuff.
So can I just say, like, as a
Sorry.
communication, no, I mean, this is all great. I would have said before I
You
lose
must
the
stop
thought.
me.
But as a communications person also, it's really interesting what you're saying, because I've been saying similar things to people.
Yeah.
And one of the, you know, content creation is so labor intensive, and so it's very expensive. Writers or content creators are often really underpaid for the amount of time that goes into it. And so often what I say to them is that, you know, using templates is really cost effective. And those things don't, and I don't mean anything with the artists out there. There is space and there should be budget when there's budget. I say Adidas spends millions to sell a tacky, right?
Absolutely.
So they've got big teams in place. So there's space, and when there's budget for things to be really perfect and to use the artist and to, you know, go the extra mile and hire the spray artist and stuff, fine, then let's do that, and there's
Right.
place for it. But otherwise, those are the things that get you stuck from starting. I mean, I was planning a website for like 3 years. I'm just saying. But I do want to speak to you then about two things. You know, one, there's a lot of women, there's a lot of research that shows, and actually my psychologist said to me, it's in your late 30s, early 40s that women start going into entrepreneurship, where they've done their run of what the workplace is supposed to look like. They could find themselves. And here on the Woman Show, we've often had women who've left corporate because they're looking to not just work for themselves, but to do something that has meaning for them.
Absolutely.
Right? They want to make a real impact, not just in business, not just make money. Sometimes they even take a cut, but to do something that's important to them. But one of the things that often comes up is this disparity between women and money. This is one of the most difficult conversations. So I like that you are so bold about it, that you are declaring. I just want to ask a very broad question on your philosophy around money and how we should not be ashamed to go for it.
Absolutely. So I grew up in a very traditional, very poor home, and everyone who's rich has got problems. That was the mindset. You know, those people have a lot of problems.
Oh.
And I used to watch these guys in the Lamborghinis, looks quite fine, or at these lavish restaurants, and I'm like, they look quite okay. And I think it was a way for our parents to compensate because they couldn't afford, and so they made money the demon. I find it quite odd or funny when I speak to any person of color starting their business, and the minute they tell me what they want to do, they're like, I want to give back. And I'm like, why are you putting it together? Why are you putting your business and giving back together? You can do something that generates money and you can give back, but it's like a guilt. So they're like, I want to start this business, you know, it gives back. And I'm like, immediately, I didn't even ask them. And you'll see it a lot. It's a pattern. I want to take that mindset out. You know, when we do our graduations, I'm like, if you don't make money, we didn't do our work. Because we know about black tax, and we know I'm a product of it. We're probably the first generation with policies. Our parents didn't have any of that. They got what they got, and now they're getting their pension, and they're happy because God provides, and that's it. I'm not bringing down any religion. I'm just saying the part of the demonized money is what it was guilt, I think, because they couldn't afford. And so the way they kind of smeared that was like, we're happier, we're more spiritual, we're more godly.
Evil.
Absolutely. I know wealthy people that gives out money on charity in abundance. And you're like, if I make more money, I can give more money. Do you know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, well, I don't want to make, and so that mindset has got to go. But you touched on something else as well. You touched on, you know, women in their 30s and 40s making money. I want to take it back. There's so many 20s and under 20s becoming millionaires overnight. These are your influencers. These are your people working remotely, doing cybersecurity remotely. Cybersecurity is going to be one of the most important skills going forward. The more we grow the data, the more we grow technology, the more we need cybersecurity. We teach ethical hacking. So we teach that to people that works in banks. They need to know the ethical hacking to understand the frauds on it. So those are people making money. 30s to 40s, I think COVID has a huge, huge impact on all of us. You know, where we all, at one point, rich and poor, couldn't compensate for our health. Okay? I said it was so funny because normally it's people of color standing at the unemployment queues,
Yes.
and all of a sudden you got like everyone else
I
standing
had
there
a
during
nurse
COVID.
tell me about like a stream of wealthy people going to the hospital in Tafelsig, Mitchell's Plain,
to get their COVID
to get their
jab.
COVID jab.
Absolutely,
So that was interesting.
and I think it was at that point that we realized, is it that important to chase your passion or whatever, or to chase something that hurts you so much? So you're like, I really love this. I'm not making it out every month, but I love doing this. Or is it important to understand that time is limited? And so let me chase something that I can do to help my family, and then do my passion separately. Remember, when people say, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, it was created by monopoly. It was created by the wealthy, so that you go in there and you love your paycheck. So you work 140 hours per day because you love what you do, and they're getting what they want out of you. It was needed. And not everyone is going to enjoy this. What I do appreciate about the gig economy, and you're saying the 30s to 40s starting on their own, with freelancing, we needed to like, listen, do you need any work? And then try and promote ourselves so badly.
Yeah.
Like, my time is valuable. So what did you do? And you put it into a report, and they're like, that's it. And so you're trying to do that. With gig economy, there are apps and platforms. Fiverr is one of them. Up is one of them. There are jobs needed, and there's the rate, and so you take the job. And so this was created for that. If you look at the sweep as well, the one that Naledi Pando's daughter, right? We become a domestic, and then you can get the job. Instead of asking everyone in those little slips that you give out, you now have a rate, you now have a guarantee, you now almost have a labor union taking care of it. So the gig economy is built on an app, built on a platform, built on a software where they find the work for you. Take a percentage, rightfully so, I'm okay with that, because I don't have to do the marketing if you equate that, and they get work. And that's how our students get work. That's how our learners get work, and that go on to digital entrepreneurship.
And so as a woman, a female entrepreneur also, a lot of women are looking to also start their own businesses. I wanted to come in and say, and this is all great, but study after study still comes out every year that women do face more barriers, right? Structural barriers, structural biases. We see it within the corporate spaces, within the workplaces. That manifests as a pay gap. A lot of the issues around COVID also was childcare. So childcare came up as a structural barrier.
Absolutely.
Actually did something interesting this morning as I was preparing, saying, one of the things that government can do, a hole that they can plug, is providing state childcare. And I thought, wow, I didn't even think about, because I don't know.
Right.
There's also the thing, nobody else must look after you. You must be able to look after your children,
right,
and do everything else.
Right.
So I just want to ask you, then you work also with female entrepreneurs, and within that space, do you see those structural barriers playing out? And then maybe if I can add something to that, looking at technology, looking at the gig economy, is there potential for equalizing the playing field there?
I think the gaps are so big. I think that the study was shown. So I was with the United Nations 3 weeks or 2 weeks ago. We were at Philippi Village. We had a stakeholder engagement on human rights and technology, women and technology. The gaps are just so big. We're looking at like 300 years to fix it. What I am saying is there's less face on technology. So where you would underestimate me for being a woman, my face,
in the interview room,
right?
Yeah,
my face isn't on there in the gig economy. Do you get what I'm saying? My work is on there. And that helps also our kids that work from disadvantaged areas. They're not eloquent. English is not their first language. And so we already judge them because there's a standard, you know. And now that they do work overseas and they just take the jobs, and people are like, they're amazing. Do you really need to? Half of the work is always outsourced in India. Half of the work is outsourced in China. We don't see these people. Our software is mostly outsourced there. So I think that will always be there. And I don't live in the working world anymore, and I made that choice. But I come from a very male-dominated working world: defense, aerospace, and engineering. Those are three places that it was just very male-dominated. I think when you choose the gig economy, if you don't work hard to get your money, you're a manager of your own time, man. That's what I needed. I needed to fetch my child, not leave him at aftercare. I needed to take him to a soccer meeting or a soccer match, and that's what I wanted to do. I need to plan around my meetings. So I think for me, that's the gig economy. Also, when you have money, let's not like, try and brush it. When you have money, you can do things. You can pay for a nanny. You can pay for someone to sleep in. And so these things that we're trying to put plasters on, the government must get this. The government must create spaces for people to earn money and more money. We keep brushing past that. We keep trying to put bandages on. We need to transform our economy, and the inequalities in this country is so high. We just keep on speaking about disparities of women, but the inequalities is so high due to land, due to all the apartheid, pre-apartheid, all of it that happened, due to slavery 300 years ago. And so you set people so far back. It's time people start making money. The beauty of 4IR is that it is applied learning. So they do digital entrepreneurship in 4 months, they do videography and animation in 2 months, boom, they can make money. Have you ever seen these learnership over 12 months? No disrespect to anyone on this platform. It's over 12 months, you get a little stipend, people struggle, then they bring them in. You were late, you used your money, but they have to survive with 1,000 Rand over 12 months. I mean, you can't with having kids. So over 12 months, then you must wait for CETA to give your certificates. And we work with the best CETA, I'm not going to mention names. You must wait for them. You must wait for the training provider. We like, when they're done, they must make money.
Yeah.
When they're done, we don't care about the certificate.
And so it's an outcome for you. And that's good, because usually it doesn't focus on and then you let them go. I mean, a lot of courses, let them go, and then nothing, nothing comes of it. In comms, it's like, oh, I've done the strategy, and then you put it in place, and there's no, I'm shifting toward what do I want the output to be. It's not, I just don't want to just get paid for creating this thing that never has traction.
Right.
I want to see that it has traction afterwards, and what does it do? And often with these courses, we don't worry about, we place the onus on that person,
because
the participant.
We did the PR.
Exactly. We need to take another break.
No problem.
But we will be back with more after this. Welcome back. You're still watching The Womxn Show, and we've been discussing entrepreneurship, the fourth industrial revolution, and lots and lots and lots around that technology and what that means for us, and where, I don't know, just all sectors are going in terms of employment. And still with me in studio is Aasiyah Adams, who started a social impact company and an NGO that provides technical and digital skills to entrepreneurs, youth, and women. And so, Aasiyah, you've given us like so much, and I'm not even sure how we are going to round up all of this in this conversation. But I think, I just want to ask you, so someone is, for the viewers out there, I think, who are looking to get into technology, I will add that there's also a level of intimidation about learning something new, especially if you're older. So we've got our generations that grew up with it. My gosh, how old was I when Facebook? When I was at school, our computer classes was learning Microsoft Word. Basically, that's where we were. I don't even know if there was internet. By the time I got to tech, there was Google. I discovered Google. So now I'm 19 years old. I discovered Google, and I'll never forget the first thing I did was spend one whole week just Googling jokes, because it was just, that's what I wanted to do. Now we've got these kids who have grown up with tech. My daughter has never known life without at least a cell phone. Right. But for the older generation who are going in, I know when people come to me, they're intimidated by Canva. They're scared. Women also, I think, have a thing where they're scared to break something. Having with tech and games and all of those things more focused on boys as they are growing up. Women are afraid to break something, they're afraid to try. So if they are inspired by the conversation we've had today, you have opened up their minds to these different spaces within tech, whether they're in HR, whether they're in finance, whether they're in communications, what should they be looking at in terms of technology and digital to get started?
Okay, so obviously that's a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
So when we do digital conferences, we leave about 5 tips for women in business. And the reason I do that is because there's so much out there. And one of the questions that I received was really nice. We had a conference once and it was just people in business, not just women. And this gentleman said, I fix cell phones. Please tell me how you think I'm going to use digital or technology with my business. So I said, and how do you tell people the cell phone's ready? He said, they come in. I said, every day. He said, yeah. I said, go and buy, I'll show you the platform. Go and buy something like, I think it's 2,000 SMSs for 65 Rand, but you can use it on the PC. And every time the cell phone's done, you tell them the cell phone you can collect now, or your cell phone's been checked in. The user experience on it is phenomenal. And I said to him, but I want you to come back to me. It's like, like using a shampoo or a skin product. I want you to come back to me. He said, man, he even sends ads out. We're now selling electricity. He only digitized one part of his business. That's it. The user experience part of the business. It's 65 Rand he invested. And he doesn't have people hovering over him. He has more time. It's a personal thing now. It's a come and pick up your phone. I'm going to come back. I said, and in 3 months, you got a record now. In 3 months, you send them an email to say, we've actually got specials on phone. Because in 3 months, that phone's not going to last. You only fix the PCB of that thing. Now you've got data. Data is king. So I think instead of going everywhere, focus. The other part is you can learn with videos. Anything you want to know. You don't know how to change or how to add a voice on Canva? Go and check YouTube. How do I add a voice on Canva? And they go step by step. What I do feel people are intimidated by is that they're all over the place. So they're not sure where they're at right now, whether they're going to do technology or not. If this is my business, it's a skincare range. These are the things that I want to do on this business, then this is what I need to do. The other thing is, it's no use you're amazing and nobody knows about you. So I'm fortunate. I was on a cohort with Grindstone and Naspers Labs, and I was known out there. I then piggybacked off their hashtags. I piggybacked off their network, and they've got a massive network. The first rule I teach anyone in digital entrepreneurship is it's amazing what you're doing, but the world needs to know what you're doing. Go and tell the world what you're doing. Otherwise, they will never know. And so you're going to moan, I'm not making money. Nobody knows what you're doing. Nobody knows you. You're a nothing. Don't think you got a nice website that you paid 20 grand for that it's going to make a difference. So get yourself out there on digital platforms. It's free. Go and get yourself on all social media platforms, and don't go and put there some dancing choreography if your aim or objective is to sell a skincare product. Go and teach people about skincare. Go and teach people about how you do your skincare. Give them tips, like you were saying earlier, what tips you're getting. So PR on digital platforms, go and learn something, one thing at a time. There's a lot of information. If you want to do, let's say, a pitch to get investment, go and learn on Canva just how to do a pitch deck. That's it. If there's something that you want to increase in your target audience, go and learn data analytics. It's simple. Every platform has it. What are my demographics? Who am I speaking with? Where do they come from? What time of day are they on there? That's something that you can now analyze. Try and at least change 1 to 3 and 5 things of your business. We give 5 tips. I suggest 1 to 3 things.
I love that. I'm listening to you. I am acknowledging that an internal structural barrier for a lot of people of color is that they are afraid to promote themselves. There's a deeply ingrained thing where they can't see themselves on their platform, but also they struggle to, I have these conversations all the time, struggle to promote themselves because people, they don't want to be full barig. People, someone called it the who am I to syndrome, right? Quickly, because we're almost out of time.
Okay.
If you have a response to that, to confidence. It's a confidence thing. Or
I learned it differently. I was also like, because my background is, I want to give back. But in my culture, you shouldn't be telling people what you're giving back.
Yeah.
So I had that in my business as well. I don't want to tell anyone. And my friend, very successful woman of color in business, bought her second mine right now. She's got PR companies, love her, single black female. And she said to me, "You're doing such amazing work and the world doesn't know what you're doing. Go and tell the world what you're doing." You know, every time somebody says they want to write your story, say yes. I don't think there's any time, Lenina, when you ask me if I want to come in and speak about what I do, I say yes. There are two reasons I do it. One, I can still give back with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And two, I can now tell the rest of the world what I'm doing, that somebody might just pick it up and say, "I've got a couple of million I'd like to invest into your sponsorship."
Yeah.
So
what you need is out there.
absolutely.
I love to say the money's out there waiting for you. They just need to find out
Go to the
about
waterfront,
you.
go and see what Zara looks like. And I'm like, there's still lots of money in this country.
Yeah. Aasiyah, we've got 1 minute left. How can people find out more?
So on our website, please vote for us. Please, we would love to represent. And I've got an outfit, guys. If you don't, then I can't wear my outfit. I'm going to cry. So it's Abaguquli. So it's abaguquli.co.za. On our website, there's a little voting button and you can just vote for us. Please do. And then any other information, leave your details, let us know, and we'll celebrate together.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. We
you.
have learned so much. And thank you all for joining us. That's all we have for today. I'm Lenina Rassool. Goodbye.